we haven't really. We are told that, right? And it sounds interesting because you wouldn't treat yourself anything less than, I guess you do right by yourself, right?
Right.
So naturally, that rule suggests that you're gonna treat somebody how you're gonna treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So this way they'll give it back to you, right?
Right. So, but that raises the question: how do you treat yourself? This topic is going to be interesting tonight.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to how this is going to go. We're talking about how do you treat people?
How do you treat people? How do you treat people?
Yeah.
How do you treat people?
Well, the general overall golden rule, that people have been taught all these years is you treat people how you want to be treated.
True.
Right? So I'm supposed to treat people the way I want people to treat me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the golden rule. That's what we've been taught growing up. That's, the kind of go-to slogan. That's the thing that everybody says. And absolutely, you want that. You want that mutual respect. You want that the reciprocal. You want to reciprocate what's going, like what you give out, you want people to give back. So, that's the general overall rule.
Okay, but all right, so that's the overall rule. But how do you treat people?
Well, I treat people with the utmost respect, and I treat people with compassion and care, only because that's what I expect in return.
Yes.
Shout out to Nicole Harris. How you doing?
What's
Thanks
up,
for
Nicole?
joining us.
Thanks for joining us today.
What's everybody drinking? I got some green tea with cucumber over here. Let us know what you're drinking.
Water.
Hit us up
I'm
in the
doing
chat.
water tonight, keeping it fresh.
That's pure.
Yeah, it's some water.
Keeping it pure.
Light.
Shout out to Sherry Harton. She says, I'm suggesting we can make the world a better place by meeting people where they are, and instead of assuming that's where we are.
Bars.
Absolutely.
You gotta meet people where they at.
Love that.
So
Mother Boomer's drinking Kool-Aid. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's all right. You got that Kool-Aid? What else we drinking out there today?
Yeah, set us up. Let us know in the chat what you all are drinking while we are talking and sipping.
So what we're talking about today is how do we treat people? Okay. How do I treat people? I do the best that I can to treat people with respect. I really do. Respect, care, and concern. When I have the opportunity to, because I'm usually a person trying to stay out the way.
Gotcha.
But if we interact, I do my best to treat a person with respect,
and
as much respect as I can, and I expect the same in return.
And I think that's what the golden rule really talks about. It talks about giving that respect, that mutual courtesy, and that's like a basis and a foundation for interacting with people in general. Especially people that you don't know and you come in contact with them and you have to interact with them. The general kind of basic rule is respect. They say you got to give it to get it. You want to receive it, and some people even demand it. People demand respect in some ways that they interact with others. So
in some situations that's called for. I mean, I understand that, but demanding anything is not always the best way to get the best results. Alberto, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, we got a few comments.
I'll say, because you mentioned this golden rule, and which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Let's talk about that.
All right. Well,
doing
let
unto
me.
others.
Yeah, because we got some comments. That's what a lot of people are saying. Mother Boomer says, I want to go a step further and treat them better than I've been treated.
Nice,
Thank.
Mother Moon. You are definitely one of a kind.
I said, Arrington, what's going on? Arrington said, give them what they give me.
Hmm.
And Nicole said, treat them accordingly.
Ooh, I like Nicole.
Yeah, that's big.
Treat them accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. You know
Yeah,
what that means.
because listen,
That's bars. It
that
speaks in volumes.
it does, because that speaks levels according, as in according to
In
the
accordance to
way they
how you
may
come out, how you present. That
exactly.
comes with a that's one of them comments.
Indeed.
The
Indeed.
golden rule, man. That golden rule is tricky. I mean, it's something that we've been it's been pushed
Embedded.
on us, embedded
Yeah.
in us since we've been born, and probably our parents and grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Treat others as you would have them treat you, right?
Right. And
That
that's
is it, right?
essentially, yeah.
Because sometimes you say you get a little tongue tied. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which is pretty much the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And my opinion on that, it sounded great until I found out about the platinum rule, which we're gonna get into later.
Right, right.
But I mean, we haven't really we are told that, right? And it sounds interesting because you wouldn't treat yourself anything less than, I guess you do right by yourself, right?
Right,
So
right.
naturally that rule suggests that
You're treating
you're going to
person
treat
well.
somebody how you're going to treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So this way they'll give it back to you, right?
Right. So, but that raises the question: how do you treat yourself?
Correct.
Because what if the way you treat yourself is better than the way I treat myself? Or flip the script. What if the way you treat yourself is substandard according to the way I treat myself?
What if I just like a beer first thing in the morning? That's the first thing, a beer, or I'm not a beer drinker, but I'm just saying, what if I'm rock and roll type of the morning, crazy spirit, and you're
I'm laid back,
quiet, but I want reserved. You to treat me
like a rock star.
Yeah, I want you. So what's going on, man?
And I'm just like, okay.
But I'm treating you like that because that's how I want to be treated. I'm rocking out. Right. This is what I do every morning. This will get me hyped. It motivates me. I go to work off of it, or I get my day started.
Right. That's what gets you going.
So when I see you, I'm on 10, 100.
I'm just like, okay, because I'm laid back and I'm reserved and I'm.
Am I wrong?
Quiet. And that's the question. Are you wrong? And then am I offensive?
Because I mean well.
Right. And then am I offensive to you because I'm laid back and reserved and almost afraid?
I'm like, dude, what's your problem?
I'm like,
Robin, what's up?
Bro, it's like 9 a.m. I haven't had my coffee yet.
We woke up.
And I don't drink coffee, but
you out here. That means it's time to go.
Yeah, I haven't quite.
Well, come on, let me buy you a coffee so you can rock out. Is that what you need? Let me get you a coffee.
You are so hyped right now. I don't even want a coffee. But this is the thing. Like you want to be treated like a rock star. And I just want to be treated, calmly, laid back, quiet, reserved.
What comments we got over there?
So well, dual respect. That is the golden rule. That speaks to the golden rule. Mother Woman said, lots of energy, son.
Son, right. Brooklyn in the house.
But I don't think she means son in that way. She means son like, son. Erickson said, he quoted the Bible. He said, don't cast your pearls unto swine. So I'm not giving my best to them that don't deserve it.
Ooh. Wow. That's another area.
Yeah, that's big.
That's another area.
And listen,
now we have to determine who's deserving and who's not. Because I think, me personally, I think everybody deserves at least respect until, like everybody is innocent until proven guilty with me.
Gotcha.
It just depending on the environment. And when it comes to this love thing, when it comes to this respect thing, oh man, It don't matter if you're a bum, you CEO. It don't matter.
Right,
if
right.
you were a janitor.
And that's good. It's like you're no respecter of persons. Respect is respect.
Respect is yeah. There's no you know what I'm saying? Now, if after I extend my respect, you smack my hand, and that's a different story. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about
the initial encounter.
The initial from one to another. Everybody deserves respect. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's walked a journey and been through something.
And that's the basis. That's like the foundation, right? You give respect where respect is due. Again, back to the golden rule. You treat people the way you want to be treated, and that's the bottom line. Like in the very basis, the very foundation, people want to be respected, right? But when you start to build on that, some people want love, some people want compassion. Like this is my belief, and I want you to believe this with me, or you support me in my belief. So once you get past that basic level of respect, now people want to be treated in other more specific ways. And so do we treat people in a way that is specific to our uh our own individual needs, or do we how do we venture out past that? Once we give the basic level of respect, or once we have a initial contact established, when you begin to interact with people a little more closely, then what is it that we deliver? What is it that we convey to them? Is it what we expect? It's like I we have the respect level, but I want compassion.
Bars.
So do I give compassion just because I want compassion?
Great question. Listen, if you're getting value from this, let me see those hearts. Let me see those hearts, because those bars.
Yes. Listen,
before we can even.
Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Raymond. Thanks for joining us.
James, what's going on? Before we could even get into the emotional aspects, Simone, what's going on? Let's see.
Heart and Clan in the building. Thank you for the support.
They definitely. Thank you for the support. We couldn't do it without you. We do it for you. Before we, and that's definitely bars. Before one can even get into the emotional aspect of it, though, you gotta ask yourself, one, how do I want to be treated? Right? True, is it fair that I treat somebody how I want to be treated? Because we live in a melting pot of a world, just in New York City. But in New York City, we know this is a melting pot, right?
Right.
We come from all different walks of life. Who's to say I want to be treated like you? I may like something that you think is crazy,
Right.
And vice versa. Or, I could be upbeat, you could be very laid back.
Right. So then now let's get to that. When you deal with people with different personalities and different perspectives and different upbringings or even cultures, how do you know that the way you want to be treated is something that they would receive or even want in return? You if you have a basic foundation, right, of respect, right? Let's say for example, let's say I'm a Muslim and you're a Christian, right? And the concept of God and religion is always a huge debate. People say you don't ever want to debate religion or politics, right? Because it gets so heated and entangled, right? Well, I never
can't tell nobody who to love.
Well, no, that's
true.
Can't
tell nobody who to love. Or, same thing with politics, same thing with religion.
Right. Or about people about their kids, right?
It's based off a belief system.
Right. And that's the key.
Anything.
Right there. That's where I'm going. So because I believe a specific way or a specific way of life, and that's my culture, and that's my upbringing and background, right? So if you come up to me and you're like, how as a Christian you might say God bless you, or grace and peace be unto you, or something to that effect. As a Muslim, we normally greet each other with Assalamu alaikum. So because you're a Christian, do you greet me as God bless you, grace and peace?
Um,
And am I going to accept that? Because my way of life, we greet people differently.
I probably would have did better with another point, but I'll say this because I'm not really familiar on the science of the differences between Christian and Muslims greeting. You know, I mean, I see Muslims say one thing, but I don't want to disrespect them. And Christians, I just always thought it was this. But I guess to your point,
And
it's a matter of if I did know, peace be unto you. If you say peace be unto you, to me, for me, it's for me, and I think for all, it should be a matter of where it's coming from and what the message is, as opposed to um, if I normally speak like that.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
And just to be clear, like this is a really vague kind of
Yeah,
example, a
definitely.
basic hypothetical scenario.
Right.
But and I mean, again, we're still speaking about how people treat one another and having the way in which you treat. Like, am I treating you the way I want to be treated, or am I treating you even the way you feel you should be treated? And that's the thing. If and again, basic example, right? If you want to be greeted as grace and peace or whatever,
right,
and I say to you assalamu alaikum just because that's the way my culture greets people, does that give you like, do you feel disrespected, or can you recognize that that's just my way? Or it's like, how does that potentially be good or bad in terms of perception? you know
Well, one's perception is one reality, as we know.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say me or you per se. Well, I wouldn't say that I would be offended. I don't think anyone should be offended in regards to, like, if someone is greeting them and they greet them in their way of greeting them, because it's a greeting. I think it becomes a matter of understanding, and that's what we come down to when we talk about this, treating someone else how we'd like to be treated. And I guess in questioning, well, how do I know how you like to be treated? I don't know you.
Exactly.
I don't know you. I've never, so right off back. But it's I guess in understanding, because naturally, in order to be able to treat someone how, even for the basic of the golden rule, how you want to be treated, you have to be around them long enough to treat them that way. So usually it extends beyond a greeting, but should one be offended? I don't think so. Can someone get offended? Well, yes, if they're really a stickler on how I'm greeted.
Right.
I don't like religious greets, or you could act like that, but for me, I choose to look at the intent, as opposed to,
Yes.
listen, I'm not Muslim. If a Muslim, I grew up in the hood, so you'll get our keys saying assalamu alaikum all the time. And forgive me if I haven't said it wrong for any Muslims that are watching. I'll just say it back, because I know it means something valuable. I know it means something well, and I've heard the meaning, but I've never taken the time to study the Quran. I know it's just as valuable as God bless you. Peace be unto you.
Right.
I can live with that, because I know you sending me blessings my way. So I take it that way. I'm not one to get offended by stuff like that. But when it comes to being able to have the opportunity to treat someone like you're treated,
right,
or like you treat them, it requires you to be around them. But what we learn within that is that can backfire. It doesn't always work, because after the greeting, say we know each other after a while, right? But how I deal with making plans, for instance, I make plans, and because you're my friend, I naturally just throw you in my plans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But this is how I do all my friends. This is how I want to be. I want my friends to be as considerate of me like that. Like when we're around, of course, if I'm here in your house, I want to have plans with you, you know? So this is how I plan for my friends because that's how I want my friends to treat me, you know? So if you're around, I'm just going to tell you what you're going to do, you know, give you a place. So this way you already know what you have to do to make the plan go good.
Right.
Not discussing it with you. Not saying, but because you're my friend and you're being around me, and this is how I like to do things.
Right.
You know, that's when that rule, so to speak, starts to prove not necessarily being true. You know?
That's interesting because I'm looking at it in the perspective of when you don't know a person, that's kind of the only time that you can treat a person the way you want to be treated because you don't know enough about them to know what they may want. So all you can go on is what you know. And you know what you like. So you're gonna go on that until you get to know the person and what they like.
That is interesting. That's an interesting take. The reason I say that may not necessarily be true is because you have people who have 2, 3, 10-year relationships that don't necessarily know each other. I'm talking about friendships as well as relationships that don't know or have not accepted. My friend doesn't like when I do this particular thing. They accept it, but they don't like it. Their friend and or relationship partner, husband and or wife has said several times, I don't like this, but they keep doing it because it's what they want.
Right.
So the matter of treating people how you want to be treated extends well beyond not knowing a person. It's usually the people who don't know, because the people that know each other, because the people that don't know each other are not really interacting that often. And by the time you interact, it's brief, unless you're required to work around a person. And then you have your occasional cordialness, you get your work relationships, things like that. But that rule, right, only gets to go into play when you are becoming familiar enough to even want to treat somebody well. Because again, the idea of treating somebody how you want to be treated is that the basic idea is that you treat yourself well. At least you think. And you wouldn't think that something that you would do for yourself, right, would offend somebody else. But I don't think that it can apply to people who you don't know, but I think it mainly applies to people who you definitely know. Absolutely.
Okay, well,
absolutely.
Let's see what the folks are saying. John McCrae, thanks for tuning in. If you,
Mr. Watkins,
anyone who's tuned in, you don't know what we're talking about. We are discussing how do you treat others and how do you treat people in general. So
Gwendolyn, what's going on? Sorry.
Oh my goodness, Sherry Harden has interesting take on this. She says, what appears to be empathy is in fact very self-serving. By treating people the way we want to be treated, we are most likely treating them inappropriately. What is interesting is that the majority of us would agree that we should not force others into our way of seeing, feeling, and thinking about the world. However, this is exactly what we are doing when we apply the golden rule. We are imposing our view of the world on someone else.
That is a fact. Yeah. That is a fact.
It's
bars.
She goes
Sherry.
On. Let me see. She says
This is Sherry, right?
Yeah. Sherry Harden.
She killing us tonight.
Yes, so much wisdom. We must treat others as they would wish to be treated, because to do so through our own lens is to not take into account what they consider to be respect, dignity, and humanity. It would be our own view of it.
That's a fact. Good stuff. I couldn't have said it better. So we got to remember it's important, how do you treat yourself when you say, doing to others is you would have them do unto you. People, when you say that, you say do unto others, people don't necessarily think about themselves and how they treat themselves, what it is that they like, enjoy, and if, that matters. And I think, honestly, it's just more of a saying. I think it's more of a saying than anything, because I don't think anyone Up until even this point in my life, before we started doing this podcast. No, actually, I heard this before. I've heard this a few years back, and it made sense. Like, you know what? Yeah. Because I might not want to be treated like how you treat yourself. You might be a hoarder.
How about that? And see, initially, I think that's the thing. Initially, when
you could have all types.
You could be a serial killer or what?
Right? I don't want you to treat me like. Treat me
right. Right? Don't treat me like a victim. That's what you do. If you go around victimizing people, I don't want to be treated like a victim. Don't come serial kill me now. But I think that's only a key factor when you don't know someone.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to say thank you, number one, for tuning into our podcast. Number two, I want to say that we're utterly growing. I'm getting phone calls every day. I'm getting emails every single day. And I'm getting inboxes every day on how much this podcast has been a blessing to other people. And listen, I want you to know that if you can help me while I try to help you by leaving me your email address so that I can level up on current events for you every single day, so that you'll know exactly how close we're getting to the thing that we want to do. We want to become your number one, and we want to broaden our horizon and broaden our stage. And I need your help. Numbers are everything. So if you can get people to look and tune in and to participate in their comments, participate in our giveaways, it means the entire world. I'm here to serve you. Do me a favor also. Can you leave me a comment and tell me what would you like for us to do more to better accommodate you? Who would you like to see on our platform, and what topics would you like to hear us cover? I want to say thank you again, and please do me a favor, help us out by leaving your email and being involved. You are our community, and we want to serve you. Thank you for being a part of It's Life Podcast community. Hey, what's up? Are you ready to level up on your people skills? The kind of skills that'll bring you a different outlook?
The kind of skills that'll help people feel understood. The kind of skills that'll help you know what to say and how to say it.
The kind of skills that'll bring you a different result. And by the way, if we meet for the first time, I'm Donald Francis.
And I'm Mark Bill.
This is It's Life Podcast right here on YouTube, where we're helping people develop self-control
to make better decisions.
Those of you who have just joined us, we are talking about how do you treat other people.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. How do you treat other people? Well, rather, how do you treat people? Because everybody's another, right? How do you treat people? And so far, we have covered how do you treat yourself?
Right.
What is this thing called the golden rule, right? The golden rule, and how we apply it, and if it actually works.
Right.
Breaking down this golden rule and how it's supposed to fit in society, but how it actually keeps us from truly treating people properly or truly listening to people, because we're too busy treating them like we treat ourselves. Mm-hmm. So then it brings about the question, how do we treat people? How are you supposed to treat someone? If you don't treat them how you treat yourself and you think highly of yourself, how are you supposed to treat someone? Well, at least it's right into our next step. And that's that platinum rule, that good old platinum rule.
Yes, and we could thank Sherry Harton for already being ahead of the game with the rule that states treat people how they want to be treated.
That is a fact. Say that one more time, because that's bars.
You gotta treat people how they want to be treated. That's the bottom line.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And the only way we're gonna know how people want to be treated is by paying attention to how people want to be treated. By removing what it is that you feel from the situation.
That's it. And just really, get an understanding of the people you interact with. You don't want to fall short, because with the golden rule that says treat them how you want to be treated, that only goes so far. When you do what you think is okay for you, you haven't considered that person. You haven't considered um what their highs or lows, or what makes them tick, or what they even would appreciate. So
Right.
when you understand how a person likes to feel appreciated, how they like to be satisfied, then you apply that to each individual person. And guess what? Everybody's different. So it's not going to be the same for everybody all the time. So by us treating people how we want to be treated, we're doing the same thing all the time, but we're addressing different people.
That's right.
So there's always going to be a bar that's missed, or we're going to fall short in some way, because we're only limiting the treatment to one cookie cutter type of mold.
That's a fact.
Which is the mold that fits us.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. Bars. And you definitely don't. I mean, again, I couldn't have said it better. You definitely don't want to go around treating everybody exactly the same, because we're not the same. We're all different, and we all have different responses to different situations and different types of people.
Exactly.
Now, I guess that would bring an interesting question. Well, how do we find out how people want to be treated?
Well, the first key is pay attention. Pay attention. Be receptive to a different way. You have to be receptive to a different way, a different method of treatment. If we're talking about how we treat people, right? So methods of treatment are not the same. They're different methods. So for different people, it's like the saying goes, what the different strokes for different folks.
Right.
So we got to learn the different strokes.
Absolutely.
In order to, treat the different folks accordingly.
That's right. We definitely got to learn how to pay attention to people, but ultimately have understanding.
Yeah.
Have understanding and acceptance that your way may not be the only way. Yeah. Because it's easy to get caught up in someone's offense, or what appears to be offense. Someone could just be taken back by how it is that you respond or do things, because it's different from what they expect.
That's right.
But it could easily be, that's something that can be easily moved past by the person, I guess, the deliverer of one's ways, kind of seeing the person as an individual and not the person as someone trying to disregard their, what would be kindness at the time. And maybe, it's a possibility that my way just, rubbed them the wrong way. There's a lot of the times that we do things that are not even do things. And when I say do things, I'm not talking about something bad, but we carry ourselves in a way. I'll just keep it on the eye. Sometimes you carry yourself in a way that makes people feel like, or makes one think that you're angry when you're really excited. There are people out here that can't differentiate the two, Right. And for instance, I would in the past get offended and be like, hey, why don't you understand? I'm excited about this. But instead of saying excited, I'm not realizing that how I'm coming off, it appears to be angry. And I'm like, why you're being so sensitive is what I'm thinking initially. I'm just excited. And then I find myself re-explaining. But the reality is they could just be a soft-spoken person. And I was just too excited for them. It's a lot of people out here. Right. Like, energy is real, and the energy you carry, it transfers. So that's right. It's just good to be aware.
Translates.
That's right. And it's just good to be aware of others, aware of your surroundings, aware of who you are and how you move, to understand, to be able to understand that it may not work for everybody, and that's okay. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just a thing. You know what I'm saying? And if you care enough, if it matters enough, you want to interact with others besides yourself.
Right.
it's good to consider, you know,
exactly.
how somebody else's approach may be, or how they may or may not respond to your approach, you know,
or if they'll receive you at all, you
yeah,
know, without jumping to any kind of conclusions or any preconceived notions. That's something that we do so often. You know, we'll see a person and the way that they conduct themselves or carry themselves. We can judge a book by its cover, so to speak. We will, you know, just draw up a conclusion about that person without even knowing them. Like, excuse me, for example, you talked about being excited. Like, if I was just maybe standing at the bus stop and I saw you being excited about whatever it may be, because I don't know you, I don't know what's going on in your life, but if I'm a reserved person, I'm gonna, you know, quickly jump to that conclusion, like, you know what, he's you know, he's uncouth, and he's, you would say unrefined or whatever. um Reserved people might think, you know, just by seeing you not be reserved.
right.
You know, and that's the thing. It whatever it may be, you could be excited, you could be sad, you could be whatever the case may be, but because I'm so reserved, I'm not going to see anything outside of being reserved as being proper etiquette or being correct or, you know, conducting yourself accordingly. So this is where that golden rule falls short, you know, because I'm looking at you as if you should conduct yourself the way I conduct myself. You should react to whatever may be going on. You could be having a phone conversation and found out you just hit the lottery and you have all of this excitement. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what caused you to be that way, but because if it were me, and you know, a lot of people have that train of thought where they come up with, well, if it were me, you know, and this is why, even though we are taught the golden rule, it's not always fitting for the situation, because it gives that permission to say, well, if it were me, I would do this, or this person should have done that because that's what I would have done.
And it also, listening to what you said, puts you in a position to pass judgment, which
Yes.
you shouldn't, because the treating people how, listening to you, they're treating people how you want to be treated, doesn't just apply in treatment, but also within perception, you know, your outlook of people, and therefore you or one goes about pursuing someone based on that perception that they got, and how they would treat a person like that, or how they perceive them to be, not truly knowing a person.
Right.
So, you know, it can open a lot of doors when you're not open, when you're not having the understanding, the level of acceptance to receive a person as they are, you know, and treat them how they'd like to be treated as opposed to how you want to.
Right. Right. Listen, you know, to this. Hey, Sherry Nichols, we got another Sherry on the line. But Sherry Hardin said, I like this. The golden rule teaches us to seek the same for others that we will aim for ourselves. But if we ask for a better tomorrow for ourselves, we should find a better tomorrow for them, meaning the other person. So we shouldn't just look at anything for ourselves and not consider the other person and where they are, and because what a better tomorrow for you is not going to be the same as my tomorrow being better.
Correct.
So if we can ask and expect it for ourselves, we have to ask and expect it for that person in the way that makes them better.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. Bars.
I think about this example, right? I remember I was being taught, doesn't matter the subject, right? I was a student, and as the student, the teacher taught me everything that they knew about the subject, right? But the teacher taught me what they felt I should know. didn't teach me how to go and seek the knowledge for myself. So what they did was they taught me how to do the job that the way they would do it, instead of instructing me to go out and with the knowledge apply the skill in a way that made me effective. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
So
they gave it to you in the best way that, well, yes, the best way to know they knew how, but also they led you, they wanted you to do it the way they wanted you to do it.
Yes.
That the best way that worked for them, but not necessarily in the way that could make you most successful.
Right.
The way that made them successful.
No, a way that made me do it the way they saw me doing it.
Okay.
You know, they taught me the skill in a way that I would do it the way they felt I should do it. And not just teaching me everything openly and plainly and letting me navigate and use the tools the best way I could.
Got you. And so therefore, ultimately, they were treating you as they would treat themselves.
Exactly.
Because you got to remain open in order to understand each other, in order to be able to, first and foremost, treat someone how they want to be treated. You got to remain open.
That's true.
You know, there's no way that you can provide platinum treatment if you're not taking the time to understand how one wants to be treated. Okay, removing yourself from the action of it. You know,
right?
And this applies to a lot of the stuff that, you know, a lot of our guests can, a lot of the stuff that we've talked about prior in our prior episodes. You know, within knowing yourself, the people in your circle,
the loyalty,
you know, you know, just having that understanding and being able to see things outside of what it is that is your norm. You know what I'm saying? So, because that's the only way that you'll be able to deliver the platinum rule. Because like we were saying in the beginning, most people don't know each other.
Right.
But in a situation where you know someone, you friends arguing all the time or going back and forth. You hear about friendship arguments from afar, you know what I'm saying? Or through gossip or whatever. And they'd be like, they always go through this. They always do this. They go over to this house, they go over to such house. He or she does this, and then they start arguing. And they always arguing back and forth. Right. And it's usually over something they both know the other person is not either not going to bend on or they've been doing for years. And they just been accepting of it, but they keep blowing up at each other, or it's finally reached a point. It's because neither one of those people are treating each other how they want to be treated. They keep saying, well, if you would just do it this way, another one, if you would just do it this way,
right,
we different.
And no one is ever going to say, well, let's do it your way. And that's
where let's do it both ways.
Right, let's do it both ways. Way. We do it your way this time.
They both
my way
be
next time.
Right. Let's do it both ways.
And in a really true, healthy and wholesome friendship, the argument wouldn't be about always your way, this way, that way. It would be like, can we try it your way? No, let's try it your way. No, let's try it your way. Let's try it your way. So and that's a healthy argument. That's like I'm so thankful for good friends. I remember where, I had some friends that were questionable, and we'd go out and sit down to dinner. And then when the check came and it was time to pay the bill, everybody got quiet. Everybody had to go to the bathroom. People was looking at the time, and nobody reached in their pocket. But I'm so thankful to now have friends that when we go and sit down to eat, everyone's jumping at the opportunity to take care of the bill. So I'm like, listen, get you some friends like that.
Right.
And that's people who genuinely want to treat people and just treat people in the basic sense of treat me to dinner or treat me to lunch. You know, that's when you have people who really just want to treat you. That's a blessing in itself.
Right. Everybody, I really, really hope that y'all receive value tonight. Ultimately,
yes.
We want to land this plane reminding everybody that the golden rule was something that we all grew up on, something that all of our family members grew up on, but a lot of us either it was not brought to our attention, and if it was, maybe it wasn't practiced often. But the most important part of that golden rule is understanding that you are not the only one in the world. So what we want to do going forward is we want to treat people how they would like to be treated. And that's the platinum rule.
Platinum rule.
How they want to be treated, you know? And if you don't know, take some time out to know. You know, take time out. Just, you know, we got 2 eyes and 2 ears for a reason. We only got 1 mouth, so we don't always got to run it. Sometimes we can just pay attention.
You learn a lot from observation. But even if you observe and you're still not sure, you can always just ask, what would you like? Absolutely.
Especially if you know somebody for years. Because let me tell you something. The hardest thing is when you think you know someone. I mean, you have the longest relationship. Like, I know. To hear that you never really knew. But it's okay. Because that's what every day is for the learning. You know, we grow every day. Flowers grow every day. The sun comes out every day. We can learn something new every day, even about someone or something that we've already known.
Right.
All right. So we're about to wrap this up, and we appreciate all y'all support. So shout out to D. He wasn't here this week, and he working hard.
Yes.
Make sure that we continue to be a success. Shout out to One Take D.
Keeping us relevant.
My guy. Shout out to my sis to my right of me.
Absolutely. And to you.
Over here holding it down.
And to you, bro.
For sure. And definitely all our supporters, because we are here for you.
Absolutely.
Couldn't do it without you. We do it for you.
Yes, Ms. Willis, John McCray said congratulations. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much.
We're going to shut this down. Listen, we landing this plane. I just want to say thank you so much to all y'all supporters, man. Y'all the reason we keep coming back. Like Robin said, man, we human just like you. Yes, sometimes we have a lot of things going on, man. Y'all are the reason we're coming back here. So thank you for the motivation. Thank you for the support. And we're going to continue to come and deliver value to you, man. We're going to see you guys next Thursday. Absolutely.